Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. Well, welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to be before you again. We come to you with peace and greetings. It's such a good day, Dote. How's everything going in your world, sir?
Man, I'm in the Virgin Islands, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Man, you are one globetrotter if I ever seen in my whole life, my brother.
You got to do it while you can.
Hey, man, do it till you're satisfied. That's a good thing, though. How's the weather down there?
It stays between 79 and 83. Even at night, it don't go below 79.
Wow, that's awesome. That's good stuff. So I'd like to welcome everybody once again. And as always, click on the like button and the heart button. And also put any comments you may have. Or if you have any questions, or if you have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, future topics, and if it's something off from what we talked about, and if we can fit it in, we will definitely do that. So we look forward to you making those, actually taking those actions. Helps us. The more you click on the button, the like button, the more we reach more people. That's how it works. The algorithms and Facebook. So last week we talked about, is your home insurance adequate? And I hope you went and checked out your policy to make sure you see if that was true. Because a lot of people, Dote said they learned some things, especially about the 80-20 rule that they did not know about. So that's good. As we always hear, we try to provide as much information on different topics as we can. And we hope that you share this information. And you can always go out on Facebook Live in our archives under the FITT Show banner in Facebook and on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube while you're out there too. But share this information. Y'all don't hold it for yourself. This is information that, doesn't get old, it doesn't get stale, and we always got more. But this week is going to be really interesting today because we're going to be talking about, electric cars. Are electric cars the future? And meaning, are they in your future? Because a lot of people are considering, but a lot of people don't really know a lot about electric cars, and they're hearing, and some people may have them, and they're hearing different things. But electric cars can be economical also. So we're going to talk a little bit about electric cars today. But before we jump into that, I want to start off like we always do at the top of the show with the good news, Dote. You've been on the roll. Dote.
Well,
so we hope you stay keeping your roll.
We had three bad days in a row, so I'm lucky you didn't ask me yesterday. But today the market did okay. And for the week, it's not too bad. And there still are indications that the Fed will not be will not be raising interest rates anymore. So we hope that stays the same. And if you look for the week, things are just haven't changed that much at all. Dow's only up 167 points. NASDAQ's up 100. Microsoft took a little bit of a hit. It's down 2%. Tesla's up. But again, Tesla is extremely erratic. It's up and down, but right now, things are good. Um, Apple has a little uptick. Uh, uh, Pfizer's down a little, and Nvidia's down a little. So things are holding steady. We were expecting to hear more news tomorrow about how the economy's doing. Most of the information that has been coming out has been positive, with the thinking that the Fed will not uh, raise interest rates anymore. So we'll see how it goes, but a pretty uneventful week.
Well, I mean, I guess that's better news than bad news. But if you look at the current close, notice with the Dow, 36,000. I just want to bring that point out that that's what the market was at when Obama was on the way out and Trump was coming in, which means the market was really rolling. So it's back at that level, which is so interesting. And back then, the NASDAQ was at 16,000. And as you can see, we're not far from that. But for the year, it's been some great earnings year to date overall. But and dope, gold is up, man. Gold is staying over $2,000, and it's moving. And silver is up also. So, and
How's your Ford doing?
Ford, man, Ford is just holding, man. It's down a couple of dollars, but it's been staying there. But General Motors has been getting back up there. There's a move on the General Motors stock that's doing pretty well that I also have. But and then Nvidia, the semiconductor, just like Nvidia, listen to me, NXPI, which is the competing semiconductor company out of Holland. They are $5, and they're over $200 a share too. And I got in. What did I get? I think I got in at $70 a few years ago. So I'm looking good there. So with that though, let's get into the crypto market, which has been jumping off the chain, man.
Yeah, it's been going crazy.
Yeah, man. The market cap is up. The total market cap is up 191 billion, up to 1.4 trillion in the market cap, and the Bitcoin is at $43,370. Bitcoin is up 15%. It's up $5,738 a Bitcoin. That's a good little return there, 15% though. There's not too many places you can get 15% return these days.
Not within a week.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have Ethereum, which is the smart contract. That's up $300. That's up 15%. And then Tether, the stable coin, that's been holding because that's pegged with the dollar. But Solana, we've been tracking for the last month. Solana has been going up every week, though. It's up $9 a Bitcoin, and it's up 15%. And Dogecoin, what some people call it dog coin, Elon Musk, it's up 1 cent, and it hasn't been moving, but it's interesting that that's even moving. So I don't know what's going on with the cryptocurrency market, though, and we always say it's so speculative and it's driven by consumer sentiment. But the whole point of actually cryptocurrency was to compete against the dollar because the dollar was losing value, and it was also cutting out the middleman. It was peer-to-peer transactions where you cut the middleman out. People like Visa and other people, and banks actually. But it's starting to move again. So, like we say, if you're going to invest, only invest with money that you can. We're not saying we want you to lose, but money you
can afford to
lose.
lose. Right.
There's a difference. So, Dope, let's get into electric vehicles, man. A lot of people hear about them, but they really don't know a lot about the electric vehicle market.
Yeah, and that whole phenomena has been crazy. The car companies have invested tens of billions of dollars in shifting their production to electric vehicles. I mean, General Motors announced in January 2021 that it won't sell gas-powered cars by 2035, and that's not that far away. And other leading car makers have made similar promises. So we're going to see a big shift to electric cars in the years ahead. And so everybody's expecting a rapid rise in the number of EV cars, especially when you look at where we are now. Uh, they expected it to be about 50% of all new car sales and 70% by 2035, but things haven't moved along as it was anticipated. And it's really difficult to shift that production because it's a different vehicle. You know, there's no engine, no transmission. There's a whole lot of stuff that's different. So they got to really change their production lines. And so it's hard for the automakers because you're investing all this money in the EVs, but you're not making any money on any EVs. And so it's hard to pull away from making those big SUVs where you make all the money. So it's going to be a while before this happens, and it's just going to be a big change. And we'll see when consumers are ready to make that move.
Yeah, though, it's so interesting, that still the number one most sold vehicle in America is the Ford F-150. But look, there can be no denying that the era of electric vehicles is well and truly upon us. Now, with zero tailpipe emissions, EVs are a direct cure for air pollution and will also help reduce those oil inputs, getting us off the dependence of those oil inputs. But there's been a significant rise in the production and sales of electric vehicles in recent years. Now, many automobile manufacturers had invested heavily in electric vehicle technology, launching a wide range of electric models to cater to the ongoing demand. It's more than just Teslas that are out there. This increased availability and diversity of electric vehicles contribute to the notion that the era of EVs, electric vehicles, is indeed underway. Now, advancements in the battery technology and infrastructure have played a crucial role in accelerating adoption of electric vehicles. Now, the development of more efficient and affordable batteries has extended driving range, vehicle range, reducing range anxiety, we're going to be talking about for consumers, and the additional expansion of charging infrastructure, um, uh, including public charging stations and home charging stations, has improved the convenience and accessibility of electric vehicles for drivers, especially with President Biden passing the infrastructure bill. I think, though, there was over $20 billion in there to build um, supercharger stations. The car companies are going to continue building gas-powered cars, make no doubt about it, in the coming years. As the majority of consumers remain skeptical, I'm sure you all out there are skeptical too, of electric vehicles, and because bigger SUVs, like Doe said, and trucks may remain their major source of profits. Now, experts, check this out, expect gas cars and trucks to be available until at least 2050. Now, though a handful of states are planning to phase out as soon as 2035, like Dope was talking about, how um, General Motors is talking about, not making any more gas-powered cars. Now, to date, those states include California, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, and the state of Washington. Now, once purchased new vehicles check this out, Dope. Once purchased new, vehicles stay on the road for 12 years on average. So every new gas-powered car bought today will still be available in the used market for years to come. Plus, EPA's rules are not yet finalized. So as car companies invest in them, the number of electric vehicles on the road is likely to increase quickly. Now, that means more varied and reliable options for people who do want to buy and drive electric vehicles.
Yeah, so you think about it. What does it mean for American buying cars? As Bob just said, gas-powered cars are going to be around for a long time, and still a lot of people are skeptical of EVs, electric vehicles, and because SUVs make all the money, it's hard for the manufacturers to give that up, and so they're going to be around for a while. And so experts expect cars and trucks to be available until at least 2050. And so we talked about the states that are going to be that might outlaw, especially California, because they got so many cars out there. And so as car companies invest in the number of EVs on the road, it's going to increase the number of EVs on the road. And if businesses can't meet the government deadlines, that may create some issues, but I think they'll end up just extending those deadlines and allowing them to catch up, because it's going to have to be a match between supply and demand. And so it's going to be a lot, and a lot more EV companies are starting to produce a lot of different vehicles. And you're starting to see more at the lower end of the spectrum. You know, if you go back a few years, the only EVs you saw were very expensive, luxurious, very, very fast. But now you're starting to see some more inexpensive options.
So why aren't people buying electric vehicles in spite of the price cuts and tax breaks? Good question, because electric vehicles are piling up on lots across the country as the green revolution hits a speed bump. Data has showed. Now, electric vehicle inventories have increased 506% from a year ago, though, and that's going to make me want to go out there and buy one. I'm telling you, because the price is going down. With EVs sitting on the lots for longer, according to the Car Guru's October report released this month, EVs sit on the market an average of 82 days versus 64 days for gas-powered vehicles. Now, I don't know people who listen to this. That's a great bargaining point if you go in there and want to buy an electric vehicle. Reminder, hey, this car going to be sitting here longer. So in response to the slowing demand, automakers like Ford and GM are cutting production. Wow. So electric vehicles are still too expensive for most people, even with government incentives, surveys have shown. Now, when consumers still have plenty of concerns surrounding EVs, batteries, the range, price remains the higher priority when purchasing an electric vehicle, according to the Morning Consult report.
Yeah, and if we look at it from a stock perspective, and you look at what's going on in the stock market in relation to EVs, it's kind of eye-opening, because both investors and car companies are trying to figure out what's next for the EV market. The growth rate has slowed down tremendously, and they're blaming most of that on interest rate increases, which make it harder to buy a car for most people. And a lot of it is just people are reluctant to go EV. And so whatever the reason, one thing is certain, the EV bubble has popped. You look at the numbers, the combined market capitalization for a big bunch of the EVs, if you go back a few years, was 470 billion. And the peak for those startups between 20 and 19, when interest rates were around 2%. But today, that market cap is down to only 59 billion. So it's gone from 470 billion to 59 billion. And all market capitalization is the number of shares times its current stock price. So that means the stock price has dropped tremendously in that time period. So investors have lost their appetite for EVs and as far from a stock perspective. And so if you look at the a company like Tesla and how much it has dropped over the past, you see the same thing. And when startup companies first came out, they were doing these IPOs and people were buying up the stocks, and all those purchases of that stock were based on the future. It wasn't based on their cash flow or how much money they're making, because very few of them are actually making money. And so a lot of it has kind of calmed down. But we talked about Tesla and some of there's three profitable EVs. There's Tesla, BYD, and LI or Li Auto, a Chinese company. And their peak market cap was about 1.4 trillion. It's down to 900 billion. And Tesla is the most of that. Tesla's capitalization has gone from 1.2 trillion to 770 billion. And so those companies have generated a lot of money in free cash over the first 3 quarters of 2023, and about 20 billion in free cash flow combined over their existence. But Tesla accounts for almost half of that number. So you're starting to see people take a look at EVs and starting to measure them just like they measure other companies. Are you making money as opposed to betting on the future?
That's interesting statistics, though. I mean, really. But so, are the electric vehicles prices dropping? Check it out. Helped by Tesla's price cuts. And by the way, Tesla is still appears to be the best electric vehicle out there because it seems like they're way ahead on technologies with that, and other ones are trying to catch up. We lost Dope there for a minute, but he'll drop over. He's still there. Okay, now the average price paid in September for a new electric vehicle fell to $50,000, $683 from $52,212 in August and $65,295 a year earlier. That's a big drop. And with incentives representing 9.8% of the transaction price, that's almost $5,000 according to the car buying platform Cox Automotive. Now, used electric vehicles saw similar declines, with electric vehicles 3 years old or less shedding almost 30%, according to the Evans buying platform, the car people that actually sell cars at a discount. Even though these prices, even with those lower prices, the new average electric vehicle list price was 28% higher than a gas vehicle. And that brings the cost for a 60-month loan with an interest of 8%. On the average, new electric vehicles are $277 more a month than a gas car. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're expensive. Most of them are expensive.
But beyond the car itself, the total cost of ownership during the first 5 years is also higher, because a lot of people talk about the low maintenance and stuff, though. But that cost really comes loaded in the electric vehicles in the first 5 years, because you have to, install the chargers, and they can run about $2,000 up front. And insurance generally costs more. You may save on fuel with gas prices dropping from 8 weeks in a row. That incentive is waning. But maintenance costs might be lower, but you'll likely pay more on tires because the car is heavier because of the battery, and the EVs are running them down a lot faster than the actual charges. So, running down the tires because the car is so heavy. So, in early February, though, electric vehicles cost consumers an average of $65,000 during the first 5 years, while gas vehicles only cost $56,962. That's according to the National Automobile Dealers Association.
Yeah, and the growth definitely appears to be slowing down. And even in the traditional automakers, GM, Ford, Stellantis, and Volkswagen, they've all jumped into the EV trend, putting big money in the EVs, and their combined market cap has gone from a peak of about 425 billion down to 220 billion. That's down almost 50%. And so if you add all that together, that's about $1.4 trillion in market value has been wiped out in the past couple of years as everybody tries to figure out what's going on with EV valuations. And everybody's reassessing growth. Bob mentioned before that GM and Ford have both delayed some spending and are delaying pushing out more production because they're sitting on cars. And what's crazy is that the hybrid vehicles are going crazy. Toyota, which makes probably the most hybrids, their vehicles are going out the door like crazy. And me personally, I've always thought the big advantage of having an EV is lower maintenance costs. But if you have a hybrid, you got the big battery and you still got the engine, transmission, and all the other things that go along with a gas engine. And so hybrids are going strong, which is probably an easier step for people to make into the EV world as opposed to going straight to an EV. And so sale of, if you look in the third quarter this year, sales of all the EVs, they're up about 50% year over year, both in the US and Europe. In China, where EVs account for 25% of all new car sales, growth has been closer to 20%. So even though there's been a slowdown, there's still a pretty healthy growth in the EV car sales.
So dope. Right quick. Full disclosure, you have a Tesla. So how's it been with you? How do you feel?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I don't have a Tesla.
I thought you had a Tesla.
Nah, I got a couple of Beamers. I don't mess with.
Oh,
I
no, that's
wouldn't do
right.
an
You got
EV.
the Beamers. I forgot you got the Beamers. I forgot.
Yeah, I don't mess with Tesla. I'm not. I don't like the rain. I want to be in West Virginia looking for someplace to get recharged.
Well, I've told the viewers before that twice I've driven a Tesla from DC to Miami, which took about 24 hours. And it wasn't bad at all, actually. And we saved so much in gas. It was amazing, man.
Well, you ain't saved gas. You didn't buy no gas.
Very good point. But we saved so much and not having to buy gas. I guess what I was trying to say. But,
yeah, but then you have to stop a lot. You have to stop to recharge, right?
Yeah, but you
and
have
it
to
takes
stop
a long time.
But no, but this is the key, right? Now you have to stop and fill up your tank too. Now you just can't go on one tank of gas to
Well, I can make it from Charlotte to Jersey on a tank of gas. I don't have to stop. That's about
pretty good.
575 miles.
That's pretty good. But look, this is the secret though with electric cars though. The key is you might have to stop, but it charges real fast if you don't try to do the full charge, because the last 20%, 30% charge of the battery, it slows down. So if you just charge it up to 70%, you can go a lot more than waiting. It charges faster up to 7% than waiting the whole 100%. That's the key.
But look, you say that's the key, Bob, but you stopping more often. If you only going 100, 150 miles and you got to stop and recharge.
I'm saving over $100 in gas, if not more.
Man, at my age, time is more important than money.
About $200.
I don't want to spend my life waiting for my car to recharge.
It only takes, but look, most of the time we recharge it is like we were stopping to get something to eat anyway, or stopping to go to the bathroom. You do those anyway. Nobody, especially your old butt. I know you ain't going straight through, ain't going to the bathroom.
You haven't convinced me if I got to stop that often.
No, at my age, when I stop at the bathroom, it's taking me a little bit longer. So that's the time you can use the charger.
That's too much information, my brother. Let's go to the next subject.
Okay, WTMI. So look, we're giving electric vehicles tax credit up front in January, boosted sales. Now, starting January 1st, eligible buyers can take up to $7,500 in electric vehicle credits up front instead of waiting until they file their taxes. Back, you used to have to wait until you filed your taxes. Now you can go into the dealership and they'll take off right there, right up front. Now, some buyers might be encouraged to wait until January for that, but really, only a small fraction of well-researched consumers may be factoring in, this tax credit guidance and waiting out the EV market until January 2024. But if you do some research, you can save a lot of money. I think that's a good savings, to get that credit of $7,500. Now, to help with the price, some state and local tax credit also available for additional vehicle and charges savings, but are often too confusing and time-consuming for most consumers to research. At least that's what the experts say. Now, only 30% of people surveyed say that between September the 29th and October the 1st said they were familiar with the government programs. People really don't even research. But you don't think the savings and gas, but now most people don't drive all the way from Charlotte to New Jersey. Most people don't drive all the way from DC to to Miami. Most of the driving is around. So you don't think the maintenance cost that is low, you have no more, spark plugs, carburetor, alternators, all that kind of stuff. You don't think that cost is um, good enough, worth it?
No, I think it's worth it, but right now it's offset by the, as you mentioned earlier, the higher cost of the vehicle as it becomes more affordable. And again, if you wanted an EV just to drive around the town and you got a charger at home, it's probably a good decision to make. But let's talk for a minute and say price is the only thing holding EV buyers back. And a lot of people do worry about the lack of charging stations, like myself, and battery life. And that's a tricky one because let's just say a car has a range of 300 miles. Okay. That's with a new battery. And as we all know from our phones, the battery degrades over time. So if your battery gets you 300 miles in year one, year two is probably going to be like 90% of that. And then you throw in the fact that batteries don't work as efficiently in cold weather. So if you live in the north, that 300 range is going to get knocked down. So you go, and most car companies warranty or give you a warranty of like 10 years for the battery. So it's not that the battery is going to wear out, but it's going to degrade over time. And so that's one of the big reasons that people are kind of a little afraid of EVs. And of course, the price is always a big reason because right now they're very expensive and there are very few, let's call them medium price or lower price EV vehicles. And range anxiety has been there the whole EV time because people are worried about running out of stations because the infrastructure hasn't produced enough stations everywhere. Then you got the situation with if you have a Porsche EV, you can't charge at a Tesla station, but uh, that's kind of clearing itself out because some companies are teaming, and there's another big group of companies that are all agreeing on a common way to hook up the charger. So I think that all has to shake out and become clear. But for me, I'm going to wait until the range is around 500. The battery life is a little bit longer, and because I like to get on the road. I'm a road guy.
So I'd like for my viewers to put into the comment box, are you for or are you against electric vehicles? Are you open to electric vehicles? Because though, with Congress and Biden and people on the Hill trying to, climate control, climate change and all of this emissions and stuff, it seems like we're definitely going to be going. Isn't China some big number in the electric vehicle in China? Is some
Yeah,
big number. I forgot
they way more than us.
way more, and I think it's coming. So, because some people might wonder why we're talking about this, it's because we want you. We're about information and preparing. So we hope this information is useful to you in deciding if you want, to have get an electric vehicle, or down the road when they start being more prevalent and they might mandate them, you might at least have some information about it. But though, let's talk a
Hey,
little
guy,
bit.
hold on. Before I forget, as far as that tax credit goes, make sure you understand which cars qualify for the tax credit because there's still a couple of stipulations as far as price and as far as where its material is produced. So everybody doesn't get the $7,500 tax credit. Make sure you do your homework. It's not every EV. It's definitely not on the expensive ones. So make sure you understand that if you plan on buying an EV.
I'm getting one though.
Go
I'm
right
just waiting.
ahead.
I'm just waiting for the like you say, the longer charges to go, the longer better the batteries. I'm just especially driving around town because I don't drive more than 4 hours anymore. Anything past 4 hours, I'm flying, and that so that charge can take you anywhere in 4 hours. So for me, that works. But let's talk a little bit about the basic electric vehicle charging costs though, because that's a big thing that people don't factor into, and you need to be aware of it if you're considering it. But new vehicles typically come with a charger that can plug into a typical three-prong 120 volt wall outlet. Now that's convenient, but do you really want to do that? The answer depends on your expectations and driving habits, like I was just saying. Now, basic wall charge outlet charger, known as a level one charger, can only add 3 to 6 miles of driving per hour. Dope. When I saw that kind of like sort of put a damper on thing. That means you could wait half a day just to top off after a 40-mile trip. Now, fully recharged car with an average electric vehicle range of about 300 miles. Now, you're looking at days to get from near empty to full, right? So the next thing is, and this is all my friends that have them though, they have the level two chargers that become, the home charging standard. Now these chargers cost anywhere between $300 to more than $1,000 in excluding the installation. Now they can add up to 20, 40 miles of charging range. So and then you have the superchargers, which is a level three, and they really get up there. And the charging station in your garage can cost as little as $900 if the house already has a 200 amp electrical service. Now, dope, I didn't know that because I had some problems when I bought my house and didn't realize my electrical box, they actually were doubling up on circuit. It wasn't as big as I thought. So if you get a car, your electric car, y'all need to make sure that your box, your electrical box, at least have 200 amps, provide the service. I didn't even know that. So, there's so many things to consider when getting this, and we just hope that you all are aware of these costs. But I think in the long run, it might be worth it.
Yeah. Now, if we talk about the dangers of SUVs, and the big thing to me is the battery weight. And I think we alluded to the fact that the tires wear out a lot faster because the car is so heavy. So it can have thousands of pounds of weight and compared to its gas powered counterparts. If you look at some of the big SUVs, you take the Ford F-150, I think it might weigh like 7,000 pounds. The EV version, the Lightning is called, weighs like over 9,000. And that's a considerable amount of weight added to the car. And if you think about that, a lot of electric models weigh 50% more than their gas powered counterparts. And so that's a significant impact on road safety, which is kind of scary because if you look at the way they're making EVs, that's the one thing about them. They are rockets. Those things go very, very fast. Some of the giant EVs have 600, 800, 1,000 horsepower, which is just crazy. And so the 0 to 60 times are like 3 seconds. They got EVs that rival Ferraris as far as speed. And it's really crazy when you think about how much these things weigh and how fast they go. And that kind of gives me the chills when you put all that together because people are driving these giant, heavy missiles and they're able to go crazy fast. I mean, crazy fast. And so the extra pounds can definitely create a dangerous situation. And hopefully they put the technology in to make them protect the people better inside. But that doesn't do much for the people who aren't driving cars that are as big as these EVs that are going crazy fast. And so, from a public safety standpoint, this can be an issue that might need to be addressed. And it's kind of makes you think about if somebody's driving around in an 8,000 pound vehicle, maybe I need to have an 8,000 pound vehicle to protect myself. But that's a whole nother story. But there's just something to be aware of, that these things weigh a lot. And there's also an issue with the tires emitting uh, pollutants into the air because of how quickly they wear out. And so there's more things to be worked out with this whole EV thing. So we'll see how this shakes out in the future.
Yeah, yeah, dope. It's a lot of information out there about the EVs, but you know, we're just trying to inform you. Um, put some comments out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you for electric vehicles or against electric vehicles. So, dope. Did I step on top of your talking points?
No, we good.
Okay, the dangers of EVs.
Yeah, I did that. I just
Thank
did
you.
that.
Thank you. But so dope. As you know, I gave my disclaimer. I am definitely for EVs, but the cost, man, the cost. But the power. Have you driven one? Oh, can you say it again? Can we hear you, dope?
Sorry, I'm muted. No, I have not driven one. And again, I'm not even close to considering one
Man, the power, man.
at
It's
this
like,
point.
whew, man. I mean, like I said, that 0 to 60. It's absurd. And let me tell you, dope. Because of that power, a lot of people don't realize that kind of power actually can help you avoid accidents. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, I know it can. And you know, car crashes, accidents are up there now with guns taking lives. So, and I know we don't need to go faster, but the upside is that power. Because I mean, I did it when I was driving down in Florida. Man, it helped me avoid a couple of accidents just because of that power. So there's so many positive things.
And that's because you're probably a responsible driver most of the time. But if you look at the people, and I don't want to generalize, but you look at the people who drive the crazy fast cars now, most of them are risk takers and drive a little bit crazy. And now they get to drive these big giant missiles. That's a scary thought, my brother.
You know, you make a very good point there, though. I mean, I can't deny that because there's some. I could, man. I'm telling you, I don't know how it is down in Charlotte, but people are driving crazier and crazy each day here in the DMV. Man, it's like the other day I'm going down I'm going around 495. I'm in the far right lane. I'm driving though, and the guy is passing me on the shoulder. Now I'm going 60. So he had to be going like 65, 70 on the shoulder, passing me on the shoulder. Now I thought he was taking the exit, but it wasn't no exit. And so I thought, it was he couldn't pass me on my left side because the car was on my left side. There was no car on my left side. He just passed me on the shoulder going 70 miles an hour. That's wild. But let's go.
Hey, Bob, and you asked about Charlotte. We got the Charlotte Speedway there, and everybody in Charlotte drive like they think they're at the Charlotte Speedway. They drive crazy fast down here.
Wow. And another thing about the electric cars, man, um, they're so quiet that I mean, I was crossing the street and the car came up on me so fast, man. I mean, you just don't hear it.
Yeah,
It's
you
kind
don't
of
hear
weird.
nothing.
It's kind of weird, but I mean, hey, we're gonna have to adapt because I think they are here to stay, dope. So let's go to the summary and takeaways, dope.
You know,
So I'll take the first one. Um, our electric vehicle incentives have increased. So they're making the car more affordable. They're going longer ranges. Um, they're giving immediate tax credits that lowers the cost, and there's just a lot more incentives that they are providing, and that's what's attracting me, though.
Yeah, and you got to understand the cost. Would be another homework assignment to look at the price of the EV compared to the price of a traditional gas engine. Look at the incentives. Make sure you understand the tax breaks you get from the federal government and also from your state or local taxing jurisdiction. Understand the cost to install the charger in your garage and make sure that's efficient. One of the EV companies has a Mac that wirelessly charges the car, which I think would be kind of cool. You just drive in and the car starts charging. But there's a lot of things to consider. We talked about maintenance costs. We talked about the additional tires you'd have to buy. Understand the whole thing before you jump out there just expecting to save money. When in some cases you probably will, but depending on what kind of car and what other kind of cost you have, you may not.
Now, one of the biggest concerns was the infrastructure, charging infrastructure, because it's the private of it in Tesla. The thing about Tesla though, and driving it, they always had available bays to charge your car. No matter where we went, it was always convenient. They wasn't way up in the mountains somewhere. They were convenient to get to, and they always had an open bay to charge your car. Now, the issue was the other, and you could only charge a Tesla on a Tesla charger. So that left, some of these places that have the charger at a mall, and it might just be two or three. Sometimes they're broken. Well, they are improving, and like I said, with the Infrastructure Act, implementing so much money to build up the supercharger infrastructure, they are improving, and it should make it way more convenient. And Tesla, though, believe it or not, they are considering. They're not considering. They're going to open their car up that you can then start using it. They're going to sell an adapter that you can use their charger. So that should take care of that problem with charging.
Yeah, and the EV performance and it's those things are crazy fast. The technology in the car and all the information you have, not wireless, the driverless or hands-free driving. Even though I'm not sure I could trust that because I've read about some of the wrecks that have happened with that, and so. But the technology and performance has gone crazy, and it's all cutting edge. It's all new technology, and so that part of it is attractive.
Though the thing that I love is like my friend's maintenance was downloads. I mean, I was like, wow, it was just straight download most of the maintenance because all it is the wheels. You got powered wheels and brakes, but everything else is computerized. Now,
Yeah, but hey, Bob, one thing you know what they do though, they sell the same car and they control what options you get with downloads. For
right.
example, the driverless features is it comes with a subscription. You either have to pay a hunk of money up front or you pay a monthly or annual subscription to have that technology. So again, when I talked about understand your ownership costs, make sure you understand what you are getting. Why? Because some of it, they're all trying to go to that subscription way of doing things to obviously to increase the revenue. Be aware of what you're paying for.
And lastly, electric cars are the future, but gas cars, combustion cars, they aren't going anywhere. Like I said, a statistic when you purchase a new car now, it stays on the road for about 12 years. So combustion car, but I just want to submit to you, though, I really believe we're going to be going towards electric cars. I mean, look at the buses and everything already, um, almost going all electric. So uh, we hope we provided you some good information, which would be useful to you. Um, like to thank everybody for tuning in as you always do. James Alexander said the concerns all valid points, but as with anything that is new, it is premature aspect of life, and in time, evolution process will be resolved. You can guarantee that, James. Thank you for that comment. So we'll be here next week, and we're going to have another interesting topic. And as I always say, please put in the comment box any topics that you would like for us to cover. This is our 128th show. That's a lot of shows. We covered a whole lot, and I don't think we ever even duplicated a show. We might have repeated some information, but we never duplicated a show yet. Not that we're trying not to, you all. It's just that there's so much to learn. There's so much information out there, and most people just don't do the research. So we're trying to put it out there for you where the goats can get it. So make sure you put some comments in there, some ideas you'd like for us to talk, because this is a perfect time to get a lot of those questions answered. So, Dope, man, enjoy your trip. I know you're funning in the sunshine, and Virgin Islands is what is it? Is that still under British rule or no?
No, it's separate. You got the U.S., I'm in the U.S. Virgin Islands, then you have the British going to visit there, I think, Saturday. It is under British control. So they're right next to each other. It's like a 30-minute ferry ride between the two. One US, one's British.
Oh wow, man, you living the life, Dope. That's how you're supposed to do it too, man. Live it to the fullest. And I just want to leave our listeners with this last quote: tweet others like you want to be tweeted. Have a good day. Love you all. Oh, wait a minute, Dope. You know I can't go without giving a shout out to our viewers. Garnett, Call, Now. What's up, Now? Joanne Skinner, my sister Gloria, my sister Nolia, and my sister Linda. Love you all to the moon and back. Rodney Madison, the noteexperience.com. And James Alexander, thank you for hanging in there with us. Oh, today is December. Oh, thank you, Gloria. I do have November up there, don't I? It is December 7th. Time is moving so fast, though. We're almost at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
You know. So anyway, and make sure, remember that show we had on year-end checklist. Make sure you get those things because December 31st, a lot of those tax things, they expire on the 31st. Get them in. All right. So look forward to seeing you all next week. Same back channel, same back place. Have a wonderful day.